On this episode of Lightbox, we're talking to Greg McLeod, the animation-y half of the BAFTA-winning creative duo the Brothers McLeod. Paired with his writer brother Myles, Greg's signature visual style is often set to a mix of both straight-laced narrative, surreal comedy and, at times, pure abstraction. Their short filmography includes The Moonbird, the BAFTA-nominated Codswallop, and the upcoming animated travelogue Marfa.
Me and Myles basically breaks down as Myles is the writer and I draw the pictures. And it varies on project to project how much we collaborate. So Myles writes a lot of scripts for TV and I don't really have much input to that unless he's kind of stuck for an idea. I do a lot of illustration work for people and ident work which doesn't necessarily involve Myles. But the big projects and the short films and the feature film idea we've got and some of the bigger TV series ideas, we basically sit down in a room together and the ideas are kind of generated from us spending time together. And then when the ideas kind of gelled, he goes off and writes some stuff and I go off and draw some stuff and then we get back in the room again and so on and so on. And eventually we end up with something which is a kind of collaboration between. And then even in production, he kind of co-directs and he does a lot of the music and I do a lot of the sound, and then in the post-production we sit and we work it out together. So there's a kind of collaborative thing, a kind of backwards and forwards, I guess, which works really well, and we're able to check each other as we go through the process.
The most recent to make a splash at festivals and online is the ambitious Project 365, in which Greg committed to producing 1 second of unconnected animation each day throughout 2013.
I just kind of started it without really thinking about it. The idea was I'd post an image every day on Facebook so people could follow it that way. And kind of when I'd done 3 or 4, it started to spread. And at that point, I was kind of emotionally committed to the audience because I'd said I was going to do it, and then not doing it would mean I'd lose face. And the more I got into it, the more of my face I would have lost if I'd have stopped. If you make a film, you want people to watch it and enjoy it, and showing them a bit every day, you get a little bit of a buzz every day, and at the end of the month when we showed that month's, you get and now watching it with an audience is a whole different buzz. In general, I do the sound every day because I've always loved doing that. I've been in bands since I've always been in recording studios. I've always enjoyed the sound, and I think I work with a guy called Tom Angel quite a bit. He'd give me some little guitar noises or sounds every now and again, and they might trigger off an idea. David Camp as well, who works out of Berlin, who's worked on loads of things. He did some stuff. I got in touch with some people that I really like. The Polar Bear guy called Seb Roachford, who's an incredible drummer, just approached him and said, could you donate a sound? And he did, which was great. And we had people like David Tennant and Adam Buxton, who we were doing other work with, who just said, can you just give us a word? The sound actually a lot of times generated the second. It was listening to a sound that made it, and I recorded things out and about, so there were found sounds. But I think the really important thing was that each movie, little mini 1 second movie, had its own 1 second soundtrack that was very specific, because if there'd been just music over it all, I don't think it would have had the same impact. And actually, if you try to watch it without the sound on, it's almost impossible. Your brain needs the sound there to kind of anchor the timing almost. And actually, with sound, you can make the second feel longer than it is, which is quite interesting. So I had a lot of fun with that.
Amongst the Brothers McLeod's other recent work is their short Phone Home, commissioned by Channel 4's Random Acts scheme.
Nina, don't freak out, but this is literally an historic phone call.
You having a good time then?
Oh yeah, guess where I am?
You tell me.
I'm on Mars! We made it!
Oh, you did? And that's good, is it?
Well, the Random Acts thing was really nice. They just approached us and said, have you got any ideas? And Myles was actually in the process of writing this little script idea he had where he was going to do around the whole Men are from Mars and Women are from Venus thing, where he was going to do one film about a guy going to space to Mars and another one were about a woman travelling to Venus and then them phoning home to kind of go, I'm here. We haven't done the Venus one yet, but the Mars one was the one we did for Random Acts. And we were really proud of that because we worked really hard on getting the timing right. Because it's basically, it's a conversation any partner's had where they're at an exhibition or a festival somewhere beautiful and lovely, and you go, oh, it's brilliant here, it's lovely, and they're going, yeah, right, well, I'm stuck at home, thanks. So that was that kind of conceit. So they were great to work with. They let us get on with it, and we delivered, and it's done really well. And we recently put it back onto Vimeo, so it's kind of gone out into the world, which is lovely.
A significantly lengthier recent project of the Brothers McLeod came in 2011 with the half-hour short film Isle of Spag, conceived as a TV pilot.
Yeah, Isle of Spag was something we were told by lots of people we'd never be able to do. Right. That doing a half-hour comedy animation pilot was insane, which just G'd us on even more. So it was an idea that I'd had even before I could animate it. I just did these little strip cartoons of it. It was based on this sort of notion of a weird island with these strange creatures living on, which was based on a place in Cornwall that I visited. And it developed, and we had this idea. We said, well, let's do it. Let's write a script. Let's try and find some money from somewhere, and let's just make it and see what that's like. And we were lucky. We got some media funding from Europe, and we were able to match fund that. And then we just went away and did it. And we worked with some fantastic voice talent, David Holt, Lucy Montgomery, Richard Ridings, who does Peppa Pig, Daddy Pig. He was brilliant to work with. And we made it. We did this half an hour thing, and we were close to getting it onto BBC Three, but then the hierarchy changed and all that, which is fine. And it's still out there, and it's online doing really well. And it was interesting. It was really lovely to have half an hour to tell a story, but it's still got loads of characters in it and lots of little vignettes, like a lot of our stuff has. So I think it was quite true to what we did. The only problem was it took so long that by the end of it we thought we could write a better script now. So, but I guess that's the same with anything you do. You always, after the fact, think you can do a better job. So
you're going to America?
Yep, that's right.
But I'm not.
No, you're not.
Why?
I was lucky enough to get 365 into a festival in Texas called the Marfa Film Festival, which was recommended to me by a journalist called Alex Hannaford, who's made a short film called The Last 40 Miles, which is out there as well. And he's someone I was in a band with way back in the distant past. And so his film was in the festival, my film got in the festival, and I was like, I've never been to America, I'm going to go. And then it struck me that it'd be interesting. I've always wanted to do an animated travelogue, and I always had the idea of travelling around Europe and doing it. And the 365, a lot of it was animated when I was here, there or anywhere. So I thought, well, I'll just do the same thing. I'll take my kit with me, I'll photograph, I'll record things, I'll animate while I'm on the way, and I'm doing an 8-day trip, and I will make a kind of travelogue. So I have no idea what the final film will be.
I should go to Marfa instead, really. I mean, clearly...
Or just because you know more about hats?
Yeah, I know more about that kind of hats.
Even though I animated the film.
Well, I could write a poem or something instead of really long...
It's not a poetry festival.
I could write a long poem.
It's not a poetry festival.
What kind of festival is it?
It's a film festival.
Well, you better get going then.
And the nice thing about it is because Myles has travelled a lot and I haven't, when we come back, even though I'll have been the one that's done the travelling, he's got a lot of experience of it, so he'll help shape the story, if you like. So we'll just have all this raw material, and then we'll have I don't even know how long the film's going to be, 5-6 minute film about somebody from Stratford-upon-Avon going to this little town in the middle of the desert. It should hopefully be quite a good film.